do you agree that, well, you know, si presidential spokesperson Harry Roque called the efforts of the government excellent, actually, hindi raw palpak. And until March, or the beginning of March, the government was really doing excellently. What are your thoughts on that? Did the government, in your opinion, exert all that it could given its limited resources, or you know, it could have done better? And if so, where exactly did the government lack in doing something, whether it's ordering the vaccines early enough, or calling a spade early enough? Because we remember a year ago, when people were already talking about COVID spreading in other parts of the world, we were so lenient here, and it took a while before we finally, I mean, it blew up in our faces because a COVID positive actually died, right? So when you look back at that experience, I'm sure Filipinos will say, ayan na naman kayo, may variant, pero ayaw nyo pang tawaging variant. Ayan na naman kayo, late na naman mag-order ng vaccine, and now we're facing this, well, it's not a second surge or a second wave, we don't want to call it that. So, you know, and yet on top of all of this, Harry Roque says we did excellently. Your thoughts?
First of all, Ms. Lucci, I just wanted to clarify, no, it's not that we don't want to call it a variant. We're sticking to science, and science tells us it's still not a variant of concern. No? So if we do get the notification from WHO that it is, then we call it as it is. No? It's not something naman na tinago natin. No? So we're saying as it is, we stick to science. Second, I think I've been in the health sector personally for the last 10 years. And so I've seen how our frustrations within the health sector before the pandemic. No? So I think dapat klaro yun sa atin. We didn't have a perfect health system when we started the pandemic. We didn't have the investments that were needed, and there were challenges in terms of governance within the healthcare system. It is devolved, no? Unlike many other countries where you don't have as much fragmentation. That said, I do think, and this is me as a public health physician, and also as someone who's dedicated into this field, I clearly believe that there's always room for improvement in all that we do, diba? The Filipino do deserve better, but we also recognize that there are resources that are limiting us from getting there, for giving them the best care. But also, when we zoom out, we also need to know that it's not only our healthcare system that's encountering this many challenges, no? So even the most established healthcare system in the world actually are grappling with how to manage the COVID-19 pandemic. So no excuses, no, we always could do better, that our people deserve better, and we as healthcare practitioners know that our people deserve a different level of standard, and we will, as much as we can, try to achieve that.
Doc, speaking of limited resources, kanina we were talking about bed capacity, ICU wards, and so on. What about human resource? How are we doing with regards to the number of doctors and nurses that we have?
So currently, we're because of the added financing that we have gotten from Bayanihan, we've been able to temporarily expand our health human resource pool. But I think this goes beyond just this pandemic, no? Kung pag-uusapan talaga natin siya, talagang kulang po yung plantilla positions, for example, in our local health units. Diba? And that is actually the big strain factor in our LGUs having functional epidemiological surveillance unit, and them having sufficient people to man their rural health units or their district and provincial hospital. So hindi po natatapos yung laban with this, you know, parang inflow of cash because of the pandemic. I think we need to make sure that our decision makers continue to look at health investments as equally important even after the pandemic. Kasi hindi po dapat ngayon lang siya na importante. And with that, sir, you would know that pinakamatagal pong investment sa buong health sector yung pag-grow po ng human resources. No? Ang tagal pong magpaaral ng health human resource plus the expertise. So it's something that needs a long-term investment din po talaga.